Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. I am Danny Burke with Stokastic, and we are lucky enough to be joined by Brandon, aka Wally Balls 2686. You can see the Twitter handle right there on the screen. Fellow Stokastic Sims user, and man, he is one of the best as of lately. Brandon, man, you have been absolutely crushing it as of late, and we'll get into the specifics momentarily. But before we get into just the amount that you have won with the help from Stokastic Sims, and again, it is a large sum, ladies and gentlemen, how long have you been playing DFS for? And did you kind of get into it casually? Did you have to work your way up? What was the beginning stages of your DFS recreational or professional career at this point, however you want to label it?
So I started playing a long time ago, probably about 10 years ago on Draft Street, actually. Back when basketball players used to get negative points for missed shots. That was the fun days. But I've just played recreationally for probably the last 10, 11 years, on and off different sports. I like a lot of the niche sports, college football, hockey, a lot of the ones that don't have a lot of the big prize pools and so many entries. I started following Awesemo probably at like 2019. Shout out to Jake, Josh, and Cliffy. I was looking for a good hockey show, and I came across Awesemo at the time, and those guys were doing shows every day, and their hockey content is top notch. Obviously, there's no Sims for hockey, so shout out to them for all the great work they do. Is my stats in hockey have been great, and just following top stacks, projections, stuff like that. So shout out to them to getting me into Stokastic or Awesemo. And then over the years, I just started watching YouTube shows, following the numbers, doing a month here, a month there, kind of when I had time and I was playing a little bit more. And the stuff has always been the greatest. Each sport they do differently and each sport does well, shown by the stats and, using the Sims and all the sports I use them for.
Awesome, man. Love to hear. Love to hear it. So he's been around for quite some time as Brandon using the Sims. And look, this streak that you've been on as of late, has this been one of the better stretches since you've been using the tools, or have you had spurts like this in the past?
This has definitely been one of the better stretches. I usually just grinded the $4 20 entry max, sometimes some mini max stuff, but usually the $20 4 max and some 3 max single entry kind of stuff. I took some time and decided to go full bore with the full access at the end of November, like right around Thanksgiving. And I started playing a little bit heavier and started using the Sims, making some adjustments. And I went on a sick run the first couple weeks, which obviously helped bankroll the next couple months. But the stats have been good ever since. And the surprising part, it's been good in every sport too. Whether it's golf, I've had 5-figure scores in I think 5 different sports, which isn't the easiest to do, as I think I might have only had 1 or 2 previously before all of this. So the Sims have definitely helped my process a ton.
That's incredible. And yeah, I mean, look, we saw your tweet that you put out. What was it? It was like back on January 13th. So you tweeted out a graph and it showed you profited like over $160,000 over a 50-day span of being the all access Stokastic subscriber. And you and I are recording this now just a few days before the Super Bowl, and I'm sure it's increased from that point, considering the hot streak that you have been on and how much success you're seeing from all these different sports. And now, like you said, you're building that bankroll and being able to have access and kind of that bigger payroll to get into those other sports. So how has that really just changed your life in that 50-day span? Is it increased from that graph you tweeted out? Is it even bigger now? Tell us about that 50-day area of success that you've had.
So I actually pulled up the graph before we started just so I had it. So we're at 73 days now. It hasn't increased since that day. But just looking at the graph now, I've obviously had some big spikes. I mean, that first week, I think November 24th to December 12th was like 180 grand. And then the charts had its ups and downs. What day was that? January 13th. So since then, on January 13th, I was at right around like 160 grand since I started The Sims. Right now, I'm about 140 grand. So playing obviously as much as I do now, kind of investing a lot. There's some definitely more swings, ups and downs. It definitely goes up and down, but it definitely hasn't ever been a steady decline to where, it's been worrisome or anything like that. It's just the sports are starting to dwindle down a little bit. Obviously, there's a lot less football. I think out of the 140 grand, football has been about 54 grand of profit from that. Basketball right around 40 grand, hockey right around 20. College football was right around 25, 30 grand. Shout out to Matt Gajeski and Ben Raza, also two guys who do great jobs. YouTube shows, numbers, live before lock, everything like that. If you don't check that out, definitely check them out. If you're watching this, they do a great job during college football season.
So naturally, people watching this video are going to want to ask you, what do you maybe do or tweak in your process to give you this advantage over other users, over other people in general? Are you fully trusting the Sims? Are you making your own unique twists here and there with the projections, ROI boost, whatever it may be? Are there certain contests you're entering, certain times you're getting into these contests, running the lineups? What may you be doing differently that's giving you this much success, do you think?
I wish I had a overly complicated answer to this. A lot of it's I'm just boosting projections. For basketball, for instance, I'll go into the boom bust tool. I'll start to see kind of where guys are lining up in the boom bust area, seeing guys that have higher boom percentages, bust percentages. I found out that for me, boosting projections and I guess boosting either way, up or down projections, was a better find for the guys I wanted to get in my lineup as opposed to ROI boosting. I know a lot of guys on the shows talk about ROI boosting. I just never found that it was getting the players I wanted to get a little bit more of into my lineups, but boosting their projection closer to the ceiling and then letting the sim run off of a projection that was closer to the ceiling seemed like, to me, I was getting a little bit more of where I wanted to get them. I never mess with the ownership projections. I feel like Stokastic does a great job at getting as close to the ownership as possible. And that's one of the biggest things. If you can get the ownership to the field pretty correct, the Sims can do a really good job of running. So I never really mess with that part of the Sims. Just a lot of projections. I watch a lot of sports too. I mean, I'm sure as we all do. I watch a lot of the YouTube shows. Late news, obviously. Sometimes with late news, you can run the Sims and you can get 80-90% of a guy if you're not careful. So it's just kind of making sure you're checking and not just running and just uploading the CSV file and just kind of going from there. Just making sure that you're kind of falling in line where you want to be falling in line. It's up to everybody kind of where they want to get and who they want to get to. But if you're not double checking, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice. Sports like basketball, if you're not late swapping, obviously you're doing yourself a disservice. I usually try to mark out 5 to 10 minutes before, each set of games, just to make sure that I have everything going on that I want to go on before that. And then once the late game starts, it's kind of just up in the air at that point.
And your message to anybody out there who's been teetering with the idea of subscribing to Stokastic and getting a hold of these tools, what would your message be to those people?
There's so many free options out there. I've taken advantage of plenty of times where you can get a free month here, free month there, $1 down for a week. Just try it out. Just run numbers, play low contests, see where they finish. I know that some of those low contests have 50,000 people, and that might not be the contest you're entering, but take a look at the results from the contest you might be entering and throw 40, 50 lineups into a different contest. See where you're going to get. I think that you'll be surprised at the results you get. Obviously, I've had a great run. There's no doubt about that, but the Sims do work. They really put you in position if you have the right mindset of where you want to be against the field and not take too many overly aggressive stands, especially Showdown. I've definitely tweeted about that. Showdown puts you in such a great spot to get unique, and I realized I run the Sims just with no projection bumps whatsoever, especially on Sims, to see where it puts me. And then just little adjustments show you that, if somebody's 8-10% in the field, you can easily get to 20 with not much of a projection bump. And those are the kind of ways that you're going to find yourself getting those individual lineups in Showdown. But there's so many ways to get a free month of Sims or a free week of Sims, or just, one of the added benefits that Stokastic has all the time. Take advantage of it. Not saying that you're going to win like I am or win like other people. I know like Sean Jeezy, Chris Williams, other guys that have won a bunch in the past. But you're definitely going to put yourself in an advantage to win. Not only am I constantly up there, I see other people around me on the leaderboards all the time. And it's the same people all the time. So some people obviously are just kind of getting an adjustment on the Sims and running it in a different kind of way, but those are the guys that are always up there all the time.
Stokastic.com, ladies and gentlemen. You can find the right package for you across all different sports. I can vouch for it myself, being relatively newer into the DFS space. The tools have helped me tremendously. And Brandon, I know they've done the same for you, my friend. Thank you for taking the time to do this. And again, congratulations on all your success, my friend. And best of luck going forward. Hopefully you get many more in your future, especially even though the NFL's, dwindling down. Hopefully we can still get you some winners throughout hockey, basketball, and baseball right around the corner. But thanks again, Brandon. Really appreciate it.
Plenty of time left in the seasons. Danny, thank you. And to everybody, just give it a chance. I promise you that you're doing yourself a disservice if you're not using The Sims.